episode 18, Lane 1 Talk Show, special guest Joaquin Martinez de Pinillos. How you doing, dude?
Doing great. Just finished up a workout, and I'm pretty tired, but doing well nonetheless.
Yeah, this dude, he's a double threshold fiend. Tell us what you did today, man.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Get an idea.
Well, I woke up at around 6:30, got to Cal Poly's track, did 6 5-mile in the morning with 30-second rest. That was like marathon pace, like 5:20 or so. There was a random like 2:31 in there because some of the girls were doing like a hard track workout, 2:31 for 800. And they're like, and I was running by and I felt fine. I was like, do you need, like, they were like hurting. Like, it was a hard workout. I was like, do you need me to like hop in? And you can hop in and I can pace you. And they did that. And so I ran like 76s for like 2 laps randomly. But then afternoon, then I worked and I coached. Then I came back in the afternoon, 16 by 400 at 73 with a 100-meter float as the rest for the whole thing. So it's like 73 and then like 23 seconds for 100, and then you just do that for 16.
Wow.
Ends up being like 5 miles. So
hey, what did the blood say in the AM? What did the blood say in the PM?
I didn't take the blood today because I gotta get more hand sanitizer. I'm not gonna do it without it. So but I know what the feeling's supposed to be. So it was accurate. It was probably where it needs to be. So nice. I didn't feel like particularly bad or particularly good today. It was just another day of stacking along.
That's solid.
Yeah, what's the whole Mike Smith saying? No emotion. no emotion on this workout. Just move on to the next one.
Yeah, and we'll do a little bit more like specific work next week. That's like 2 weeks out from PA champs. Got to make sure I make I want to try to make the nationals team. Didn't realize how stacked the Hoga Aggies were going to be this year. It's wild.
Yeah, we're definitely a stacked team this year.
Hey man, I wouldn't be too discouraged about placing at PA meets. So, like, fun fact, there was 1 year I got 7th at PAs and 7th at Club Cross. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's real. Yep. And I had like a pretty good day both days.
Yeah.
So like, it's just randomly, the way I explain it to people that don't really understand the PA, I don't want to make another episode about the PA circuit, but like, it is just a random circuit of overly competitive people.
Yeah.
Like, there just happens to be randomly really good guys that happen to show up.
To put it in context, what we're talking about is we just, about a week ago on last Saturday, we had the Matt Yo Aggie Open up in Martinez, and it was more or less kind of the season opener. I had done a race a couple weeks prior, but that race was around a park in Martinez near the bay, and it was kind of stupidly competitive.
Yeah. Well, like, to give context, the guy who won it, he's a 3:41, 13:41 guy.
Yeah.
Guy who got second is a 2:11 marathoner. Guy who got third is 13:45 in the 5K. Guy who got fourth is 3:45 in the 1500. It's just like, just these random goons just show up to a random 4-miler in a park.
and it's just like, no, like, very, very little prize money. And, everyone's paying their own $30 fee. It's amazing. It's amazing. And that was really fun. I finally felt like a decent runner again for the first time in a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, you did well. You're right on me. And it's probably the first race, I kid you not, in 2 years that I really felt like I wasn't super disappointed with. Like, I'd say.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah. No, I'm happy. I feel like I'm getting, other side of the tunnel. So I see the light, which is nice. So
yeah.
That's something why I always explain to people, like, enjoy the PRs when they come. And don't be greedy about the PBs, because one day they stop coming. Like, one day they start being years apart from each other. You'll have seasons where you just can't miss. Every time you step on the track, like, you set the track on fire. You're running a PB in the 15, then you're running a PB in the 5K, then you run another PB, and you're just on fire. And then you have seasons where training is so much better than the previous year, but for some reason you just can't scrape together a good race, no matter how well you're training. Just things don't click right. So like as you get more and more years post collegiately too, like those PBs aren't as frequent as you would like them to be.
Yeah.
But just to give a little context, we introduced Joaquin, but just to give a little context on how much of a killer this dude is. Like, so a little bit of a background. He's from San Diego. He went to Wakeforrest for his undergrad, transferred to Cal Poly. That's how we happened to get in touch with him and happened to meet him. I remember one time randomly, I went out for a long run at MDO, and we ran with the Poly kids, and they run their long runs really, really fast. And it was me and Craig getting dropped in the back of the pack. And then we run into this dude, Joaquin, who's like, oh, like, yeah, I'm trying to run slow today too. And we are finishing last on the long run, averaging like 6:23 pace. But that's how I met Joaquin.
Which is good for out there. That's a good pace for MDO.
Yeah, like it's hilly.
It's like 1,000 feet of elevation if you do 16 miles out there. Probably.
Yeah, but give a little background on his PBs. He's run 13:39 in the 5K, 7:53 in the 3K, and 3:43 in the 1,500. And he has multiple top 10 all-time performances at Wakeforrest. I believe his team, what did you guys finish, like 6th outdoor that year that you guys made it?
So we got 5th. And then it's fun. It's great that you have me on today because Wakeforrest just won another ACC title. Their second one.
Heck yes.
Since 2001. Beat Stanford by 9 points. I was like, Stanford can't come to the ACC and then just whoop everyone. Like, please. And so, yeah, they got it done. It was great.
Oh, that's wild that Stanford is in the ACC against Wake Forest. That's wild.
Welcome to the ACC, Stanford. Like,
yeah, I thought UNC for sure was going to stick it to them, but especially because they have 2 low stakes. But yeah, Wake Forest looked really good, and their number 1 guy had a pretty terrible day to his standard.
Yeah. What saved them? Their saving grace was JoJo. They pulled the red shirt off of him. He was the NXN champion last year, and he got 8th. So they pulled off the red shirt for this, and that saved them because they would have gone like maybe 3rd. No, I don't know if they would have gotten 2nd or 3rd, but they definitely wouldn't have won.
So how does the school like Wake Forest? So like normally when you guys got 5th, a lot of your team were like grad transfers, or a lot of them were foreign athletes and stuff like that. So how has a team like Wake Forest been able to get like these top kids? Because, you know, Rocky was one of the first ones. He's a sub-4 high schooler. And then you're saying this kid that they just pulled out a red shirt, he's an NXN champion. He's a national champion. How are they able to compete with schools like NAU, schools with big NIL money, maybe a Power 5 school, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, Wake is Power 5. They're in the ACC.
Oh yeah, ACC.
But they are the smallest Power 5. Like, you know, we are the smallest Power 5 school with like 5,000 undergrad. So it really like what came down to, I was able to find Wake through my junior year of high school. I was injured and I was running like not very much in May. That's when I started running. That's when I recovered from my injury. And my friend was like, hey, like, let's go do a college trip in North Carolina. Let's make it like, let's go New Balance Nationals, like the Rising Star race, like just have fun, visit like UNC, Duke, Wake. And I thought, sure, like I never even heard of Wake. And so I ended up visiting Duke, UNC, and then Wake was last. And I was like, are they Division I? I don't actually know. And so John Hayes, the current head coach, he was talking to me about what his vision was and kind of what he's done in the past to other programs like NAU and Texas. A lot of the trails, if you go to Flagstaff, a lot of the trails like A1 and, even like Woody, I don't think Woody Mountain, I think he's the one that, quote unquote, like discovered A1, which is like a pretty big trail up in Flagstaff. And he kind of said, we're going to do something like that at Wake. And, we're 13th in the conference out of 15th right now. But, if you trust the program and you come here, like, I think it'll be worth your time. And for whatever reason, I just really trusted like what he was saying. And I decided, you know what, I want to be part of this. And so my freshman year, we were 6th in conference. So I think the year before they were like 13th. And then we kind of just slowly moved up until my final year when we were first. But anyways, like you're going back to your question about how we recruit. We definitely had like pretty good Americans even when I was there, like Carter Coughlin, Jonathan Velasco. We had like, we had Brent Bailey, who was a 401 miler. He ended up running 401 at Wakeforrest. But definitely our top guy, well, obviously Luke Tewalt, he's from DC. He was really good.
Were were a lot of the athletes that you ran with from the East Coast, or were they from all over?
A lot of them, well, a lot of the top guys were international. But a lot of them were from like
the Americans, I guess.
New York. A lot of them from North Carolina. Like I believe Rocky is from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd say I think we had some guys from Florida. More East Coast. I definitely brought in I remember my freshman year, I would actively message people that went to Arcadia and be like, hey, you should look at this program, Wake. And that ended up kind of starting a weird San Diego thing where John Velasco from San Diego came out to Wakeforrest, and that kind of brought out gave attention to other, Bryce Gilmore, also from San Diego, went out to Wakeforrest. Mark Trammell, another guy from San Diego, went out to Wakeforrest.
You opened the door.
So yeah, I kind of, there's definitely so I definitely try to put in some work my freshman year to get Wake on the map. And now, it's easy because now we're good. So now everyone wants to go here. And, John Hayes, I think, has no intention of making a full international team. He's definitely, he definitely uses international students. We have, we had Thomas Van Oppen from Belgium, Zach Fascioni from Australia, Aaron Lasseras from Spain. We have South Africans, people from England, but he's always going to still recruit domestically, and kids want to go to Wake. We have, great facilities, and there's just a lot going for it. Really good education as well. So I think we'll continue to be a hybrid program where we definitely still get, kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And I think with NIL, becoming more prevalent, that you're going to see a lot of that in the Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, that's why
the hybrids.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Why, I can't imagine Wake is offering a ton of NIL versus a Tennessee or an Arkansas or those schools that have big time boosters and stuff like that. You were saying y'all are only 5,000 undergrad, but yeah. So was Hayes always doing double threshold? Because I know that's where you kind of picked it up from, was Wakeforrest. So was that something new towards the end of your career, or is that something that you came into?
No, so we didn't start doing double threshold until my senior year. And I think that's because when I first got there, Wake was in a huge cultural shift. There was a lot of, in order to be truly the best, one of the best cross-country teams, you got to be really, really disciplined. And you got to be able to do all the little things, sleep, eat well, eat enough, obviously no partying during the season. And that was I'd say the best way to describe Wakeforrest when John Hayes got to that program was a drinking team with a running problem. Absolutely just multiple times a week, just getting belligerent. And so that was a huge culture change that needed to happen fast. And it, ended up, people got cut, feelings were hurt, but eventually, it worked out. And so, yeah, wait, remind me of the question again. I kind of just went on a tangent.
I was talking about your transition, if you guys started with double threshold.
Oh,
I think you're on a good roll, though.
So as I was saying, you can't really do double threshold if you're not doing everything else correctly outside of practice. You'll just burn out terribly. So if we started doing double threshold my freshman year, I mean, we thought we were doing all the right things, but we still were we still weren't there. It's a lot of programs believe they this is the top level, but usually that's not what it is. Usually it's even higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Galen Rupp taking 4-hour naps a day.
It's
little stuff. It's I slept 6 hours. that's good enough. But you see all these other people sleeping 10 hours a night, working out, napping for 4 hours, and then working out again and stuff like that.
So what were some of the things then? Yeah,
Sorry.
what were some of the things that like you thought you were doing right, and then you learned maybe towards the end of your time at Wake, or even now, that these are the things that you really need to do outside of the double threshold for it to be effective?
Yeah, so I mean, long story short, what I was saying before is that there needed to be the culture change before we could do double threshold.
Right.
Otherwise, we were all going to break.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, came down to, like drinking during the season, which didn't really happen too much during my, like at least me personally in my freshman class. There was not really a lot of that going on, but there was definitely, some of that going on with the juniors and seniors, and they were still partying and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird. My freshman year, there was kind of like the underclassmen and the upperclassmen, and there was a big like cultural divide. So, and we needed that. We needed that. We didn't really have that leadership from the upperclassmen. We kind of had to do that, learn on our own, like what it meant to be like a good program. It was basically the old program versus the new program. And so, yeah. So again, the drinking, the nutrition, like, eating enough,
Dude.
I think that's, a lot of people worry so much about what you eat. I worry more about eating enough and getting enough calories and being able to get enough energy in your system to output. Sleep, like I was okay with my sleep my freshman year, but like there's definitely some 6-hour nights just, from the transition from high school to college. It's sometimes I had like my dorm room was right outside like the lounge for the freshman dorms. And so sometimes it'd be so loud. It'd be like 12:30. I'd have practice at like 6:30, and I'd be trying to sleep and I couldn't because it was just like, it was just ridiculous. So I'd say those, and like stretching and things like that. So I'd say sleep, nutrition, and yeah, sleep and nutrition are probably the two biggest transitions when you go from like high school to college that we had to learn. And I definitely got it down pretty early, but I think it takes 1 to 2 years of doing the right thing,
Right,
to really start seeing the benefits.
Well, dude, the whole nutrition one, that one gets me. So like my freshman year, that was the thing I struggled with the most. And it wasn't necessarily that I ate bad. Well, the problem was I did eat bad at first. But the thing about it is when you eat bad, you can eat 3 meals a day and get away with that, right? Because you're getting enough calories. So I started trying to eat clean. So, the whole chicken and rice thing, chicken, rice, and broccoli, or like meat, rice, and broccoli. I changed it to eating clean, but I started bonking every workout and every PM run. And I could not figure out why. But the difference is I went from like these 1,200 calorie Subway sandwiches to like a plate of chicken and rice. And that's only like 600 calories or like 400 calories. So like my calories got cut in half to where I was going into every workout like at a deficit. So what you're saying is getting your nutrition down. Like a lot of these younger athletes too, they start to break down because they go from eating McDonald's, they go from eating Subway, all these foods, to like all of a sudden if they do transition to eating clean right away, it's really hard to overeat chicken. You know what I mean? It's really hard to overeat something that's healthy for you. So you end up being at like this crazy caloric deficit and it ends up just not working out for you. I thought that was the hardest transition for me, going to practice every day and not knowing why I was, or not even know what bonking was, but still getting that feeling.
Yeah. What we're when we're talking about, transitioning from high school to college, what were some of those, like, and this is a question for both you guys, like, what were some of those other things outside? Because I think, Joaquin, you brought up a good point when you're, that segue about the things outside of the double threshold need to be right. What are some of the other things, when you were transitioning from high school to college that were a rude awakening, maybe for yourself, but also maybe for some other people that you were on the team with?
Yeah. I mean, when you brought up the nutrition and bonking, and you reminded me of my freshman year, we would run at Salem Lake, which is a 7-mile loop. We do that for a long run. So like my freshman year, I just do 2 loops, 14 miles. I like never really knew what morning runs were because in high school, you just run after school and you have all the food from the day to kind of fuel you. But in the morning, I didn't really like, this sounds silly now, really silly now, but I just didn't eat before my runs, like in the morning. And so basically I would just disassociate in that first loop, that 7 miles, because I'd literally like be just lightheaded. And then I'd finally kind of revitalize for the second loop. And I was like, oh wait, if I eat food, I won't feel like this. And so I started doing that, and that helped a lot. So that's definitely one of the learning curves for sure.
And you weren't in high school. You probably were just didn't eat before long runs like that.
Well, I mean, because I just had like breakfast and lunch in my system. We would long run in the afternoon.
That's right.
We
You didn't really you didn't really do long runs in the morning. I mean, maybe in the summertime, but
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you see, so one time, go into your story about running in the morning. So we had morning practice, and I would be pretty good about eating like a granola bar or like half a bagel or something. But so there's one time where in high school, we only had suburbs, so we didn't have like nature or the woods if you had to go to the bathroom during a run. So my biggest fear was always having to go to the bathroom during a run. So I wouldn't eat before runs for that reason. Like, I'd like my system to be clear. But same thing, my sophomore year of college, I couldn't figure out why on Tuesday runs I would bonk every single time. I thought it was anxiety. I've like pointed at everything other than being underfueled. But the thing is we always did threshold workout. So in college, we worked out 3 times a week. We did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we would do like our longer threshold stuff on Monday. So every Tuesday morning, I'd be like bonked going to every practice, and I could not figure out why. And then finally, like, I kind of had like a breakdown and went to the coach's office and was like, dude, I can't figure this out. Like, Tuesdays, I feel awful. Like, I feel lightheaded. I feel like I'm going to faint. And the pole vault coach goes like, dude, what did you eat for dinner? And I'll explain to him like, yeah, chicken and rice. And he's like, what did you eat for breakfast? I'm like, I didn't eat anything. He's like, well, no crap, dude. Like, your calories are so bad, or like your gas tank is so empty that you're trying to go on this 12-mile run on Tuesday, because that was like our midweek long run. He's like, you're trying to go for this 12-mile and you haven't eaten. He's like, so what do you think? And stuff like that. So figuring out little things like that are big game changers.
Yeah. The training load in college is significantly more than high school, especially for guys when we're training for 10K, right? You're going from 5K to 10K.
Yeah.
You know, you're going from, 30, 40, 50 miles a week to 60, 70, 80, 90 miles a week, maybe even more in training. So yeah, I think that all sort of amplifies the what my coach used to call the 22 hours a day, that I don't see you, right? Manage your energy in the 22 hours a day that I don't see you. And for me, it was kind of like the in high school, your schedule is set all day, right? 7:30 to 3 o'clock or whatever, and then you have practice after school, and you have a bus to take you to meets and stuff, and you have parents and all that. So it's like it was you're a little bit more sheltered. But when you get to college, you might not have class until like 10 a.m. and you might only have like a 10 to noon. And so there was always like, for me, it was always like managing like study time and stuff like that, which is like, I wasn't always the greatest at. I kind of like would want to rest and relax or watch The Price is Right or something. And but yeah, that part was a little bit of an adjustment for sure.
Yeah, and something that you said, like the depth of workouts, man, because you had a pretty gnarly, like, for introduction, like a welcome to college workout, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, what was it?
That's right. That's a good reminder. So I was 17 years old, just moved in the dorms. And we worked out on Tuesdays. I moved in like that weekend. My parents left on Sunday, Monday, then Tuesday was the first workout. And we're on the Cal Poly 2K loop, right? And we would do, they were doing 2-mile repeats. So 2 mile, 2 mile, mile. And they were like cross-country pace, cross-country effort. We didn't use the term tempo or threshold that time. I mean, we did on the weekends. We would have like a Saturday tempo. These intervals were more cross-country VO2 sort of stuff. And I remember they like warming up, and then the guys were changing their shoes, and I'd never known that people did workouts in flats. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. And basically I got it. One of the older guys tipped me off like, hey, hey, make sure you bring your flats to the workout. I'm like, you are okay. So I brought my like waffle racers, right? My like high school waffle racers, and I'm putting them on, and people are like doing strides and getting like super serious about it. And I'm like, in high school I did like 400-meter repeats for like workouts and stuff like that, and I did thousands and stuff, but like on the track, because my high school wasn't near trails or any kind of like it was basically next to highways. And we get out there, and I'm just like, our team was super small. It was only like 12 or 13 dudes total. So it was just one group. And, we get out there, and the first rep was like 9:55 or something like that. And I was like, wow, I broke 10 minutes in the mile in practice. And I didn't think like maybe I was naive. I don't know, but I didn't think that I didn't, it was a big eye opener for me because of just like the level of intensity. And looking back, that makes sense. If like, these are 20, 21, 22-year-old guys, like they've been doing this for a while, that like looking back, yes. But as a 17-year-old me doing that, okay, 3,200-meter repeat, let's go. I was like, what? And then our second rep,
this distance.
yeah, I used to race this distance, and like, yeah. And then the second rep was like 9:47, and I was like, that was fast. And that was a big, like, that week one was like training camp. It was like boot camp for me, like just acclimatizing, like going from boy to man. It was like, having guys like Ben Bruce and Sean Ricketts, and these guys were like the way they warm up and the way they do drills, and their focus was like, I was still very much in that high school mindset of like kind of like going through the motions, but like that was like, get your act together, right? Get your act together. Don't be a nuisance, right? Don't be when you have a veteran team and you're a squirrely little freshman, it's like, don't get in our way, dude. Like, don't lead if you're not going to stay in the front and hold pace correctly, right? I mean, this is before GPS, but we had our checkpoints. You knew if you were on pace and stuff like that. So that first workout, and thank you for reminding me, Mark, was a big eye opener for me. Just like going from basically just a child to, learning how to actually do a workout and not get anyone's way and cool down properly and to get in the ice bath and get the, all that training room stuff. It was like, just learn by doing. Go Cal Poly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your... Go ahead, Joaquin.
Oh, wait, what were we going to ask?
I was going to ask, what was yours?
Yeah.
What was your welcome to college?
Similar thing. So I do remember in high school, the longest tempo I did was like, I think I did 4 miles at like 5:20 high. That was like the most I ever did. And I remember I told that to John Hayes, my coach, my future coach, and I was like, yeah, this went well. He's like, oh, nice. The guys did that around a little bit faster than what you did, but for 10 miles. And I'm like, oh, like, wow. Because like, we didn't really, again, this is like at least for me, like true threshold effort, true marathon pace effort. Tempo was just like something slower than race pace, I guess. And so that was like, holy cow, like I cannot see myself doing this for 10 miles. And so that was pretty scary. But yeah, my first workout, they just bunched all the freshmen together. So it was like me, all the other freshmen, and we had Zach Fascioni. And he, like, probably 3 weeks ago was running 3:41 at a track meet, like in Portland. It was a Portland track festival. And so it was like this fartlek that we were like supposed to be on like some pace, but like we were going faster for sure. Like it was just kind of like a gut check. And I was just trying to hang on to this 3:41 guy. And I was like, granted I was a 4:14, 1600 guy in high school. So I was just like, holy cow, like that workout was almost the hardest workout I did in college, probably the very first one.
Yeah.
Just like ever wise. I was like, this is like so hard. But yeah, but I adjusted like pretty well. I had a good freshman cross country season.
Yeah, dude, those that like first initial week or two
Yep.
of all the freshmen being together on one team is always freaking crazy because everyone's like kind of trying to flex, right? So all your runs are like 6 flat pace. All your workouts are way faster than the prescribed effort.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to kind of fill each other out and like one up each other and talk about how good they were in high school. Like,
yeah. Try and name drop.
Yeah. Trying to name drop just a little bit.
What was your moment? Did you have a moment, Mark? Did you have a similar experience?
I did, man. So the coach that recruited me, he had me commit, had me sign, and then brought me back in a week later to tell me he's retiring. So I was like, oh, shoot. So we didn't find out who our coach was going to be until first day of practice. We found out we had a coach and we met our coach.
Like August or July or what?
August. So probably like early August. And it was like, oh, okay, sick. So coach didn't recruit any of us. We had a big freshman class. We had about like 15 recruits show up, 15 freshmen show up, and we only had a roster big enough to field 15 guys. And we had 15 freshmen and about like maybe 15 returners. So they said we had 15 roster spots. And since our coach didn't recruit anybody, we had a time trial. Like literally we had first day of practice, pre-meet, second day of practice was everybody line up and you race.
Wow.
And so we did that. I did pretty well. I think I got 4th at the time trial. So I was
nice.
like, oh, like veterans, everything. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm solely on the team. And so my cocky ass is over here like, yeah, like I'm a top dog already. By the end of the season, I'm going to be the number 1 guy. Like that's just how I thought. And we have our first workout. Same thing, 3x2 mile repeats. I show up in trainers. And mind you, I just came off a track season. My PBs were 921, 425. So I wasn't a killer by any means in high school, but like it's still pretty decent. And rep number 1, my buddy John, actually, he's the guy I coach for the marathon. He has 226 PB in the marathon, but he was the 5th-year senior when I was a freshman. He takes out our first rep and we run 947. I just like won the league title in that time.
Wow.
It like that same time. And that was rep number 1, dude. And I was dying. And
wow.
So
rep 1,
947. And I was trying to keep up with him because I was trying not to get dropped. Rep number 2, they stay at about 10 flat. I run like 1045. And then rep 3, I ran like 1134.
Oh man.
And just exploded. And I remember I was just so down on myself because like I finished that rep like pretty much dead last because I basically ran the equivalent to like my PB 3 months before that, like on the grass at like a whole practice setting. So that one to me was a real eye opener that I had a long way to go because everybody else, all the guys that like even struggled to break 26 in the 8K, like they whipped my ass in that workout. And I was like, yup, we got a long way to go here. I was so down.
Yeah. No, that you know, I think kind of go through that. You go through that little chrysalis phase of freshman year. And on a similar note, like there's a difference in competition as well. Joaquin, you said it very well that you were a 414 guy in high school. The competition level in my first few races was just like, it was such an eye opener for me more so in like my redshirt year, because I redshirted my true freshman year. So my second year was when I was first like finally on the active roster. But going to like a pre-nationals race and like everybody there is like, you know, a state champ or maybe they've been an All-American, and you know, for me it was guys like, you know, Chris Zielinski and Dathan Ritzenheim, Ryan Hall, right? And and they were way up front, and then everybody in between was also a stud. So I think, just the level, I was a 408 state champ, and I was just like buried in the pack. I was like getting top 100, and at like pre-nats and stuff like that as a redshirt freshman. Do you guys have any? Maybe I'll start with you, Joaquin. Do you have any of those moments when it was like the shock to the system when you're out there in an NCAA style cross country race, just mid pack, trying to survive?
Oh yeah, my second race in college was pre-nats at Wisconsin. Like my second race ever, my second 8K ever was pre-nats, and this is like Morgan kind of era of like Morgan McDonald. We have like
Yep.
Luis Grava, Cooper and Luis are still kind of young at this point. So I think like Justin Knight like may have just graduated.
Was it
So
like
like
Grant Fisher?
yeah, not quite. No, Grant Fisher was out at that point. So yeah, it was like 2018,
Yeah, I
and
think he
yeah, I
got
just went.
second that year to Morgan
Oh,
McDonald.
was he still in the NCAA? Wow. Okay, I guess he was still in
Yeah.
the AAA. Okay. Well, yeah, I go out and it's like it's Wisconsin, it's rolling hills, and the only thing that really kept me going was my teammate, like Dan Viegra, who he was at Wake, transferred to Texas. Now he's actually working as a park ranger, I believe, in a national park, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I was just trying my hardest to just stick with him the entire race. That was like one of the harder times I ever worked in a race, and I was like, I did all of that just to get 100th. It was like, oh man, like it was like I probably one of the hardest I've ever worked in a cross country race, and I was like, oh, I'm 100th. I was kind of happy with it. It was honestly fine. But yeah, that was definitely, it was just going from just me and like two dudes at a state meet to like me and like the entire country running together.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
place did you get at the state meet, and what division were you?
Division 3, my junior year, I was third. My senior year, I was second. I lost both those times to Liam Anderson. My junior year, Liam Anderson was second, and Eric Gonzalez was first.
Eric
But
Gonzalez.
you're
Oh,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, is that the guy from El Toro? No, that was Juan Gonzalez. Never mind, different guy. Go ahead, Phil.
I don't really know where Eric Gonzalez. I think he went to Fullerton, I want to say.
You were your team was a state champ though, right? In cross country?
Oh yeah, we didn't even know what NXN was, and we like won state. We were like, oh, we could maybe podium, and then we ended up winning state, and we ended up getting a bid for NXN, and like it was funny because like over half my team was like, oh shoot, we got to race again. Like, wait, we're not done. Like I thought they're all seniors, and they were like, we're done. And nope, we got to go travel. But NXN was so fun, like to travel the team, like that was a great experience.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, wait, what high school did you go to?
Cathedral Catholic. We were the second San Diego team to go to NXN, and the last one was Meb's high school team, like Mission Bay High School or something like that. I think that was the last time that any San Diego team made it to NXN.
And were you a Foot Locker guy too?
Yeah, I did. So I went to NXN my junior year as a team, and I went to Foot Locker my senior year.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, you have a solid. You're young, but you have a solid cross country resume here.
Yeah, cross country. Like I might say, like I think cross country might be my favorite of the three. Like,
yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Oh, this is a fun fact. I don't know. I may mention this at some point on a run, but when I walked across the stage at Cal Poly, they were reading. You know how they read your names.
Yeah.
One of the person reading my name was a professor that I had, and she was really cool, Dr. Emily Taylor. She's still there, and I'm giving her my card to read my name. I'm like, hey, can you say, because they're saying everybody's major, right? Like whatever, College of Science and Math, kinesiology, biology, whatever. And I'm like, hey, can you say Philip Reed cross country? And and she did it. So I like to tell people that I majored in cross country.
I had a buddy who I had a buddy. He met some girl, and she was like, "Yo, like, what do you major in?" And he said, "Oh, I major in track and field," and she believed him.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that." And he was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah. I just, you took your midterm. For us, it was in Indiana.
Yeah.
And if you did well, you would come back for the final. But yeah, I loved, I'm like you. Cross country was amazing. What about you, Mark? What was the shock to this? Did you have a shock to the system moment when you first couple of years racing wise competition, or maybe you got humbled?
Dude, so Our goal when we, everybody sets those team goals when you first start the season, right? Team cohesiveness. So I was coming off of a IT band injury, but like, you don't really understand injuries. I wasn't hurt at all throughout high school. So my freshman year, we had our first head-to-head with the teams in our conference. We raced UC San Diego and Chico State. And Chico State that year was really good. They actually swept us at conference. But the first race shock to my system was we raced at UC San Diego's course. Have you, Joaquin, you being from San Diego, have you ever seen that course at all?
It's not Morley Field, is it?
No, it's not. The Morley Field makes this course look fun.
Oh man.
This course makes Morley Field look fun.
I have no idea. No idea.
It is this.
Where is it? I'm trying to think like where they would race.
It's like near the campus in the forest around eucalyptus forest.
Like near the track?
Yes.
I'm already mad. Yeah, that sounds terrible. I know what you're talking about.
So for context, Gilbert Kigan, the Kenyan that ran for Alabama, All-American. He got like 4th at NCAAs.
I think I'm familiar with the name.
Yeah, he has the course record. It's like 25:20 for an AK.
Yeah. Wow.
So we roll up to this course, man. And I kid you not, Chico State puts 13 guys in front of me.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm our team's number 3. And I thought I killed it because, the course is through a forest, so you can't see the whole field. I thought I balled out. I thought I got top 10 in the race because of the people that I saw throughout the whole thing. So I'm like, dude, we're going to win conference. And then we cross the finish line and I'm like all hyped. And I see my coach. I'm like, how did we do? He goes, you got like 17th, dude. I was like, no, I didn't. I think I got like 6th or 7th. He was like, no, you missed the 13 guys with the Chico State jerseys in front of you. Like you just were never in view of them. And I was like, oh shoot, like, bro, I suck.
Wow. Was that like Isaac Chavez era?
Yeah, that was like Isaac Chavez era. Isaac Chavez, it's funny because I'm actually in a fantasy basketball league with all those guys now, but it was like Isaac Chavez, Alfonso Cisneros, Aaron Maisland, like all those dudes. And
Will Reyes?
Not yet. No, he was at San Diego Mesa. I mean, not San Diego Mesa, ARC at the time.
Oh, okay.
No, that was later. Will Reyes made me realize there was levels to this.
Yes, there is levels to this.
Yeah, that's when I learned the hard way that there's levels to running, was racing against that guy.
Yeah, that's such a humbling thing. That era was very talented.
Yeah, they had a good group of dudes, but like, I don't know, man, getting 13 from a competitive team in front of you, like from your conference team. Imagine you show up to like pre-nats and UC Santa Barbara puts 13 guys in front of you.
No, that's totally what it's like. It's like it's not just like your it's not like Stanford that you see at regionals, right? It's like your conference rival.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess Chico was, is a solid, team in the D2 there. My next question is, you kind of talked about this a little bit, Joaquin, but I want to know, Mark, how you came to choose Cal Poly Pomona.
Dude, so I had
you're from the area.
Yeah, I had terrible grades my freshman and sophomore year. Well, not terrible, but I was
high
like
school.
I was like a 2.5 student. I didn't really think about the future too much. I had a lot of friends that were like already all strung up on their GPAs in middle school, strung up on being in honors in AP, like freshman, sophomore year, stuff like that. And for me, I kind of just didn't think that far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it really hit me my junior year when people started applying for colleges. People started going on tours. People started going on visits and sports and stuff. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, I don't have my life figured out. So I kind of just joined track and cross country and was like, maybe if I can get good enough in cross country, like I can try to get a scholarship. Well, lo and behold, I got like 0 offers like after cross country, because I didn't really have anything special to write home about until like the state meet, where I got like 15th in D3, which isn't like, you're not going to get an offer from that. Like you'll get some attention. So
did you get any like probably scholarship offers you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you get any like preferred walk-on sort of things?
Not really. So
Not really. Oh,
ironically, the school I wanted to go to originally, I wanted to go to Long Beach. Their coach told me no. He said he told me the guys that they were getting, and they were getting like a bunch of 10 guys or faster. So I was like, shoot, okay, so I can't walk on to Long Beach. And then I hit up Conover from Cal Poly Slow, RIP. He told me, I have 8 guys coming in that can do what you do or faster. Why should I like have a spot for you? So I was like, oh shoot. All right, so like Cal Poly might be out. He said, I can get you into the school on athletic admission, but I can't guarantee you a spot on the team. So I was like, shoot. All right, what's next? I talked to UC San Diego, and he's like, sorry, you're just not that talented.
oh man.
I was like, okay. So I was cutting it close. So Cal Poly Pomona, I contacted them, and they invited me on a recruiting trip. And I was not hyped on it, if I'm being honest. I wasn't hyped on the school. I knew their number one guy, who is one of my best friends now, Ryan. He was kind of doing his own program a little bit too from that coach. And he was their number one guy. So I was just like, shoot, I don't know if this is what I want to do. So, and they told me they would give me a full scholarship. So that was like my first official offer. And it was already like late April. So I had to commit to something, and I had no idea what it was going to be. So I like weighed my options down to like Cal Poly Slow. I can get into the school at least, because I was rejected academically from like every school that I applied to. So it was either go to Cal Poly Slow and take your chance and try to walk on, or go to Cal Poly Pomona and have school paid for. So my dad was like, you pick the obvious answer, like graduate debt free and swallow your pride and run D2, or go D1 where you might not even be on the team. And so I was like, all right.
And pay for everything.
Yeah, and pay for everything. Be 18K in debt a year.
Year.
Yeah, per year. So I went with Cal Poly Pomona, but ended up being one of the best decisions I can make. So
yeah,
worked out. But it was, all I got to say, man, is school your freshman and sophomore year matters, man.
Yeah, it does. But that's you know I think that highlights such a great thing in running, because the three of us are here. We all we're both or all three of us from California, but we all sort of had different sort of routes to getting to the Aggies, and I bet it's like I feel this way, but I bet Mark, like you and Joaquin, you'll probably as you continue with your post collegiate, but don't you, some of those people that maybe were on those D1 teams that maybe are still running road races or something, you go out and they get a scalp, that's always such a gratifying feeling, even if that person wasn't like super a big name, but it's like, oh, like, hey, remember you were on the team in Long Beach, and I didn't get a spot there, and I just beat you in this half marathon. That's always a great feeling.
Yeah. So fun fact, I beat every single person from my class from California. I beat every single person except for one guy in particular, RIP though, Daniel De La Torre. He just passed away this past year, but I beat every single person except for him. He wound up being a pretty good runner. He ran like 13:43 in college, or like 13:45, something like that. So I'm like, all right, still can't beat him, but
yeah. And but, as you guys continue too, you're gonna beat pros. You might be an Olympian here and there. You might be a full contract, I sleep in an altitude chamber kind of guys, and that's gonna be a big scalp too.
Hey brother, we killed Jake Riley. We got that dude at Club Cross right after he made the Olympics. That was in 2021, bro.
Oh man, yeah, we did. That was that was like, this could be a whole pod topic itself. That was top 10, maybe top 5 race of my career, man.
Yep.
That was like
whooped him in Flip Cup after.
Yeah. Just where it was. That was 21. Was that 21?
That was 21. Yeah.
Yeah. I was 36, so like, that was a good story. That was Joaquin. That was when Mark got 7th and I got 9th.
Wow.
And we just moved up like crazy the whole race, and we found Jake Riley, and there's a bunch of really good dudes just everywhere. Which is like Club Nats, dude. It's like Matt Yo. It's like the Aggie Open. It's like you're going to have all these guys who come out of the woodworks who can really run fast.
Didn't Cole Hawker win it like 2 years ago or something like that? Like,
yes.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
like you'll just like get random like really good people out there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Phil got Centro in 2011. Like,
Yeah.
like when he won it was him coming off of winning bronze at
Yeah.
Worlds in the 15, and Phil got him in cross country.
Yeah. He did. Yeah, I got him. And shout out him though for also showing up to club cross country. Like, that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was a big scalp for me. That's gonna, that's my like, okay, like, if you beat someone that has beaten someone, right? So, you get that as your, like Mark's beaten Jake Riley. So Mark's an Olympian, right?
I'm an Olympian.
Yeah. So we play this game. It's a game that we like to play on warm-ups. Is like, like Courtney Moore. Who did Courtney Moore beat?
She beat Georgia Bell.
Yeah. So Courtney Moore is an Olympic bronze medalist.
Yeah, Courtney Moore beat an Olympic bronze medalist.
So, yeah, that's always a fun game, and that'll be down the road. That's always like, it's like a little like Pokemon to collect.
I do the same thing. I got Jared Nagoose in cross country one year, and I was like, and then when he got third this year, I was like, yes.
Oh,
like,
dude,
I'm an Olympian.
Oh man, you're the generation of these guys. Yeah, that's right. I bet it's fun to go back and look at some of those NCAA cross country races, see those names. That'd be fun to go through.
I mean, this will be a quick story, but like, you'll just like being in the ACC, you'll just be like, I'll be in the 1500 prelims, and like, and the next heat, Jared Nagoose just goes and like solos the collegiate record, and you're like, oh, like, that's cool. Nice. And that'll just like happen randomly in our in these conferences sometimes.
That's nuts.
He's the reason. Jared Nagoose is one of the primary reasons I made it to the finals at ACCs for the 1500. And I can go into why, but
go for it.
Okay, so this really quick story, but pretty much I was in the first heat. It's 3 heats. Top 3 make it automatically. Next 3 fastest times. I'm probably in third with 100 to go, but I just like rig the last like 100. Like I got like really excited because I saw myself moving up with 200 to go, and I think I made maybe too hard of a move with 200 to go, where I should have waited for like that 90, 80 to go. And so I ended up getting 6th, and I'm like, oh, there's no way. First heat, getting 6th, like no way. Second heat goes off, it's slow, so I'm like, okay, I'm still in it. Like I ran 3:44 to get 6th in that heat, so it wasn't like slow. So the next heat, I think like 4th place ran like 3:40, like 8. And I was like, okay, I'm still in it. Next heat, I'm like, dang it, like Jared Nagoose is in this. Like he's not gonna let it be slow. Yeah, he didn't let it be slow. He goes, just solos the collegiate record, 3:34 at the time, and everyone in the rest of the field just jogged until the very end. So I just like look at my coach and I'm like, hey,
a win's a win.
I made
a win's a win.
6th in the heat, going to the finals. Like, so I was like, thank you, Jared Nagoose, for doing that.
That's awesome.
Just scaring everyone.
Yeah. Bro, being in those conferences, I mean, didn't the guy set like the unofficial world record in the AK today, like at SECs?
Yeah, I think it was some Arkansas guy.
Yeah, like just random collegiate guy sets the world record.
I mean 21. I mean, I remember, man. I feel like in college, like if you were like in the 24s or high 23s, like you're pretty good. But this guy ran like 21 high.
Yeah,
that's nuts. Yeah. That's nuts.
Like that's got to be short, right? Like that can't be a full AK. Like he's not running 420 pace out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think there's something weird with like the Wake Med course, which is where like ACCs was. It was NC State that was hosting it. I think like it was Gary Martin who won today. There's something. Obviously, it's not measured right because I think like the 6.5K split to the 8K split would have been. I think Ethan would have run like 3:27, which obviously he didn't for the 1500. He did 6.5 to 8K. So like these courses, these courses aren't exact, but whatever. It's not about the time in cross country, anyways.
Well, if we're gonna call it a world record.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just using the ACC as an example.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Well, I think that was a good episode, guys. Do we have any last couple things?
Cal Poly, their racing conference tomorrow.
Ooh, yes. Shout out.
Well, this will be, I guess we're recording this on November 1st, so November 2nd. Tomorrow morning, they will be racing and hopefully winning conference. So
yes, go Mustangs.
Yeah, there's no chance they don't win.
I mean, yeah, I know, but you know, it'll be a good, hopefully, it'll be a good preparation for regional.
For the postseason,
yeah, just compete.
Yeah,
that course is Riverside, so it'll be a fast course.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for the conversation. That was really awesome, and thanks everyone for listening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Lane One Talk Show for more content. We'll see you next time.